Listen, I've said from day one, if Trump says he's going to run again, they're coming for him. They're coming for everything he has. You underestimate, I'm not saying you, Aaron, but people dramatically underestimate who is behind this Democrat Party today. And this is as close to an organized crime mafia ring than I've ever seen in my 51 years on planet. And this isn't even my opinion. I'm going by the most decorated people who've left the party and are saying it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is number one. I mean, when you kick a Kennedy out of your party, that's case is closed. Secondly is Tulsi Gabbard, who was their biggest up-and-coming female candidate. She ran for president in 2020. I was hoping she'd be Kennedy's VP. She chose not to be. I was hoping even Trump maybe chooses her. Didn't happen as well. She wrote a book last month that says, leave the Democrat Party behind, and she broke down the cabal. So people are underestimating who we're dealing with right here. When Trump said he's running for president, 35 counts, felony counts, and then they became 91 felony counts. But no charges for the 2 years he was out of office. But until he said he was going to run, 91 counts. I said they're either going to put him in jail or they're going to try to take him out. And exactly both things happen. Now, here's what's the most interesting and concerning to me, and I'll leave off, we'll move on, is the Republican National Convention was Monday night. The shooting was Saturday night before the Monday night. You might not know this because you're Canadian, but you're not on the ballot until you get confirmed on the ballot at your respective convention. So Trump was not on the ballot on Saturday night when he got shot at. Here's something else a lot of people don't know. When you're on the ballot and you get killed, let's say, you can still be voted into office because you're on the ballot. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could vote a dead guy into office. It doesn't happen, but technically it could. So do you find it also odd that the shot came 2 nights before he was going to be put on the ballot officially, which means, hey, this is our last chance to get him before he goes on the ballot. Then, even if he dies, they can elect him still because they're such rabid fans of Trump. We don't want them electing a dead guy. I mean,
it's another just interesting point.
I don't know what it means. It's just the timing is really bad. And then to your point, we'll move on, is then all of a sudden Biden says actually it was a week later. It wasn't the same weekend. It was a week later. The following weekend, he supposedly gets COVID. And then the following Monday, he's out and endorses Kamala, which doesn't even make sense because you can't endorse somebody because there's no primary. So now we move to Biden's out a week later, which makes sense. I've also predicted very publicly that Biden will never make it.
And let's be honest with Biden. If you're just even a fringe watcher of politics, Biden's health is deteriorating rapidly.
The White House lied about it for 2 years.
His cognitive ability, and I feel bad for him because
of course
the party's has clearly tried to prop him up for a while. And
do you feel that that's the right thing to do to the American people, to lie to the American people?
No,
because propping someone up is lying.
And I don't think it's been fair to him, quite frankly, or his family.
Exactly.
And I expected that somewhere around this time he would drop out. I expected that they would put somebody else in place. So him dropping out wasn't a surprise to me. It was just another very interesting element in basically the same 8-day time frame.
Here's the one thing you're missing, though. He had his chance to drop out. That's why they have primaries. And if he dropped out ahead of the primary and said exactly what he said on his bullshit executive speech, that, hey, I want to make way for a younger generation, then you open the primary and you let people compete in a free market. He didn't do that. He had every chance to do that. When were the primaries? The primaries were they late 2023? I don't remember. Maybe they were early 2024. I don't remember.
Maybe he was feeling like he could
Aaron,
push it through. He was strong enough.
My dad has Parkinson's disease. My dad has dementia. My dad's in a nursing home at the age of 77. I've been down this road. My dad is exactly where Joe Biden was exactly 1 year ago. I know every single characteristic and attribute. He lives in my city. Okay? So he wasn't good a year ago. In fact, he wasn't good 2 years ago, which means they've been pulling the wool over the people's eyes for a solid 2 years right now. So the fact that he didn't step aside during the primary time to say, hey, guys, I'm ready to anoint new leaders. Let's have a primary. Kamala could run. Kennedy was trying to become a nominee, and there were multiple others who tried as well, and they just continued to suppress them, and they pushed forward and said he's never been better, I heard, sharp as a tack, and at his best. Those are exact words 1 year ago. Okay? So give me a break. I was born at night, but not last night. You were too. They could have done this the right way. Now, this is also interesting timing and disgusting timing as well, is because now there isn't enough time for a primary because there's only 100 days left. So
Right.
was it potentially deliberate where you said, let's do it where there isn't enough time so we can install someone, which is also as un-American and as undemocratic as it gets? Because with a primary, the people choose. When you install someone and hand over the delegates, the party chooses. And right now, the party has chosen Kamala.
Do
Has
you
chosen Kamala.
do you think that they were gambling? Like they think they were watching the polls and they were saying, if things go sideways, then we'll make this move. And then once the assassination attempt failed,
Let's
they went,
define if things go sideways, meaning if we hit him or we don't hit him, that's sideways?
that's one of the things you could look at. Or
Jesus.
they weren't involved in any of that,
I hope to God they weren't.
which I do too, obviously. And they were just saying, hey, if the charges against Trump don't stick and he's, gains momentum and whatever, then we'll have this plan B if it looks like we might not win this thing. Do you think that the plan B was premeditated?
I think all of the above.